Hello everybody, welcome back to Elite Weather Forecasting. My name is Mr. G. I am your meteorologist with another weather forecast update on some of the severe weather that's been taking place across the southeast up into the mid-Atlantic states, the heavy rain in the northeast, and the heavy snow over the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. So we got a lot to cover today as we have our second set of videos for the day covering that severe weather. And outside today we are in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, and you can see the water spots on the camera there. A lot of heavy rain and thunderstorms moving through North Carolina right now. We are dealing with severe thunderstorm warnings in that area, as well as a tornado watch currently in effect for the Raleigh area. Flash flood watch. There's a flood warning in place right now as well. There is about 6 weather advisories in effect around the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area, and some of those advisories extend all the way through South Carolina and into North Georgia as well, and up into Virginia. So a very large area of severe weather today. That heavy rain extends into the northeast, up to New York City, up to Boston. Very heavy rain expected today, with flooding is going to be possible. High winds as well, with winds up to 60 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour in some isolated locations. We have those very high winds, that heavy blowing snow across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. So if you are in, say, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Green Bay, through parts of western Michigan, like the northern peninsula there, like Warsaw, St. Marie, in those areas, you're going to be dealing with that heavy snow. That snow will change over the rain as you move into Ohio, eastern Michigan. So still seeing rainfall in and around the Detroit area. We're seeing rainfall over in the areas near Indiana there. So if you're in South Bend or Indianapolis, Evansville, you're still in the rain right now. We're still seeing rain over southern Illinois near Lincoln and areas pointing south, but we're seeing the heavy snow over in northern and northwestern Illinois in particular. That snow will spread to the south and east with time here as our storm circulates and rotates over toward the northeast into Canada. We will see influx of that cold air coming from the northwest. So we will see that snow increase through parts of the upper Midwest and into the Ohio Valley and parts of in Pennsylvania, West Virginia. We're going to see snow increase with time into the evening hours, and we're going to see that snow through upstate New York as well. We won't see any snow affect the coastal area, so the big cities will not have to worry about snow or the threat of snow with this storm system, as this is a much warmer storm as it's going to be heading off toward the north and northeast. So now let's move to my weather's radar software, where we're going to take a look at what's going on with some areas dealing with that severe weather. And we're going to start off with the areas around North Carolina and the mid-Atlantic into Virginia. So let's take a look at that severe weather as it's happening across parts of the East Coast today. Okay, so now we're looking at the radar around across the southeastern U.S. and North Carolina, parts of South Carolina, and eastern Georgia. And then you can see that stream of moisture coming from the south along the Atlantic coast. So here is Raleigh-Durham right there, the Charlotte area. So we're seeing that very heavy rain with those severe thunderstorms. There are numerous severe weather reports as well as advisories, numerous tornado watches in effect, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We are looking at flash flood warnings, numerous up and down the coast. Flood warnings, flood advisories in effect, high wind warnings in effect up and down the coast. As you can see all of these colored boxes here, those are numerous weather advisories from the National Weather Service, as we have a very dangerous situation with the weather across the southeast and into parts of the mid-Atlantic today as well. That severe weather is extending into the northeast. Now, we're not really seeing thunderstorms in the northeast, but we are seeing very heavy rain, very high winds, and lots of heavy snow through parts of the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. And we're going to take a look at all of those areas as we're dealing with this very dynamic, very powerful storm. Of this last few storms that we've had, this one is by far the most powerful storm that we have seen within the course of the last week or so. So we're going to take a look at what's going on in and around the New York area and into the northeast, and look at some of the heavy rain and talk about the flooding conditions taking place across the northeast. Okay, so here we are in the northeast now, as we're going to take a look at the storm from this end. When we're seeing a lot of heavy rain, not so much in the way of severe thunderstorms or anything, but we're still seeing severe weather in the aspects of this very heavy rain that's falling, some very soaking rain, very heavy downpours we're seeing across the northeast and into the mid-Atlantic. There is Long Island right there, New York City. Here is New Jersey. If you can see it, there's a lot going on in this map here. And there is Maryland and Virginia and Pennsylvania right there. And we're seeing that very heavy rain coming from the south and the southwest. And this is going to rain all night, ladies and gentlemen. This very heavy rain is going to continue all through the night, and we're going to see some embedded thunderstorms with this as well. But I don't anticipate tornadoes in the northeast, but we can see some tornadoes further to the south through parts of North Carolina and Virginia, and maybe even into Maryland. You might pick up a severe thunderstorm or two, but the flooding is going to be likely here. You see this heavy cell right about here over parts of Maryland and Delaware, New Jersey, right in here, just south of the city, and that's going to be headed right into New York City. So if you're in Manhattan, Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, get ready for that next batch of very heavy rain and lightning as well. So this round of severe thunderstorms, so we're definitely going to see those flooding conditions exacerbated here across the northeast and into New England. So we're going to be seeing a lot of roadways flooded. So the LIE, what else? We have the FDR in New York. So we're going to be seeing I-95 with a lot of flooded underpasses and things like that. So we're going to see a lot of localized street flooding, so a lot of flash flooding, flooding down under the sewers, and water coming up out of the ground. Practically so much rainfall falling across the northeast and into New England. I just hope that the city's water distribution or water management can handle the amount of rain. We're going to be looking at 6 to 8 inches of rain here through parts of the northeast. Some isolated locations can pick up 10 inches of rain. This batch right here, this is falling at the rate of 2 inches per hour. So we're talking rainfall rates 2 inches per hour. 2 inches per hour. So a lot of convective rainfall in this storm system here. A very powerful storm making its way up into Canada. So we're going to be seeing that low pressure lift out of the Great Lakes and into Ontario, Canada. It's going to head towards New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and eventually into the North Atlantic. It's going to go south of Greenland, cross Iceland, and eventually into Great Britain and France. So we're going to see this storm continue into northern Europe and maybe even as far east as Russia. So we're going to be seeing this storm, the effects will be far wide-reaching. So this now, whether the intensity remains to be seen, but we will see that storm make its way into the northern Atlantic area. So this is a very impactful storm. A very dangerous situation. A lot of rain. This is creating airport delays, railway delays, highway delays. So lots of traffic It's a very dangerous situation. So if you don't have to commute, I would advise you stay home. If you're on the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast, that heavy rain is going to continue all night long for most of you folks. It will begin to taper off further down to the south as the front pushes offshore. But if you're in the Northeast, you have a ways to go before the frontal boundary crosses your area and begins to lift out. And once the front lifts out, but on the backside of that front and that low pressure, some of you are going to start to pick up some of the snow that's up here across the Great Lakes here. So we're going to take a closer look further to the north and west and take a look at the snow that's falling across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes at this time. Okay, so here's a look at all the snow that's associated with the storm system, and we're looking at some very heavy snow into parts of upstate New York here. This is the St. Lawrence River Valley in through Canada. So if you're in, say, Toronto and Montreal, you're really seeing some very heavy snow at this time. We got some freezing rain mixed in. If you can see some of this pink right here, this is freezing rain here. So we're seeing a bit of freezing rain as well. And we have even some embedded thunderstorms in some of these oranges and yellows. That's heavier rainfall, and that's translating to the darker blue in the snow. So some of these rain squalls are moving into that colder air and becoming snow squalls. So we have some thunder snow possible in this as well, but we're going to be seeing that very heavy snow here through parts of the St. Lawrence River Valley into Ontario, Canada, and we're going to be seeing that snow through parts of Michigan, Wisconsin. We're seeing that snow through Green Bay, Milwaukee, the Chicago area. We're seeing that heavy snow northwestern Illinois, Rock Falls, Sterling, the Quad Cities in Iowa as well. We're seeing that snow down through Des Moines, through Missouri, and through parts of eastern Kansas, eastern Nebraska, Omaha. We're still seeing that heavy snowfall over those regions as that storm lifts up through the Great Lakes and into Ontario, Canada, and eventually into New Brunswick before this storm begins to pull out of the U.S. sometime tomorrow morning. We'll start to see things begin to wind down. But as this moves through, and you can see this area right here where it looks to be a little bit clear, this is our dry slide. Very powerful storms are so strong that they pull in a swath of dry air, and that's what you're seeing right here. So right along that dry slide, we're seeing severe thunderstorms to the west, to the east of that dry slide, but we're going to be seeing a lot of snow wrapping around behind the dry slide. This is called a deformation zone here, and this is where we have that dendritic zone, that snow growth zone, and that's going to be blowing and developing a lot of snow across the upper Midwest and into parts of the Great Lakes into the remainder of tonight. Through tomorrow morning, you'll start to see that snow start to taper off in the Chicago and the Quad Cities area, Green Bay, eventually in Detroit. Detroit is fortunately still seeing rainfall, but you too have been seeing very high rainfall rates and going to pick up 1 to 3 inches of rain from this storm system. But that's going to eventually change over the snow. Well, you could pick up 6 to 9 inches of snow before everything is said and done at the end of this storm. So we're going to switch to another part of the video where we're going to take a look at some of the maps, at what some of the updated maps for tonight, for the remainder of the evening, as far as how this storm is going to continue to impact the eastern and the northeastern U.S. for the remainder of this evening and into your day tomorrow. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of our other maps at what's going on with the aspects of this storm, as it is very impactful and that it is pounding the eastern third of the United States right now. So here is the radar, the live radar, and we can see that heavy rain coming all the way up from Florida. You see those advisory boxes, severe thunderstorm, tornado watches flash flood watches, flash flood warnings, special weather statements from the National Weather Service, high wind warnings and wind advisories. So there's about, some areas have as many as 6 weather advisories in place in one location right now, because we have a very dynamic and very dangerous weather situation taking place across the southeastern U.S., extended through the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast, the Great Lakes, and parts of the upper Midwest as well, as we're seeing a very large storm, a very dynamic storm with lots of impacts to your weather today across the eastern U.S. For some of you further to the south, Georgia and Florida, things will begin to settle down later tonight as the front clears your area. But as you can see further to the north, much more rain to go through, and this storm is going to continue throughout the evening hours. So we have our active watches right now, where we're going to see our large tornado watch in effect from North Florida all the way through South Carolina and North Carolina and into Southern Virginia. We have a very large tornado watch in effect right now, and that's going to be in effect until further notice, because we have very active weather that's conducive to tornadoes. So we have a lot of power outages to speak of tonight. So we have 110,000 customers without power in North Carolina, 88,000 folks without power in South Carolina. Florida, we have 86,000 people without power, 68,000 people without power in Pennsylvania, and 52,000 people without power in the state of New York. So very impactful storm. A lot of people sitting in the dark tonight as we have a very serious weather situation out there. Here is a severe thunderstorm threat for tonight. We have a minimal risk of severe storms across South Florida. You really can say you're in the clear. There's no precipitation really taking place in the Miami area right now. Central Florida, we're still seeing showers and thunderstorms rolling through. So Tampa, Fort Myers, and Orlando, you guys will have a medium risk for severe thunderstorms tonight. But your high-risk areas is going to be northeastern Florida, Jacksonville, down through Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, and maybe through Raleigh, Durham, and Charlotte as well. We're going to continue to see the high threat, high likelihood of severe thunderstorms continuing in that area, and we're seeing very large tornadoes, damaging wind events. We're also seeing very large hail as well falling across those areas. But we're looking at about 1 inch of rain further to the south through North Florida. Some areas going to pick up as much as 2 inches, and we're going to be looking at about 2 inches of rain through the mid-Atlantic states, through the Carolinas and Virginia. So still a lot more rain to go, and we're going to be seeing a lot of winter weather advisories, a lot of wind advisories across the southern third of the United States, from the Appalachians through the Mid-South and the Southern Plains, the Gulf Coast, Florida, the Southeast, up the Eastern Seaboard. We have those high wind advisories, wind warnings in place. We have a flood watch. This is all for flooding right here. We have flood watches, flash flood watch. This was a tornado warning earlier. We have our winter storm, winter weather advisories here, winter weather advisories, winter storm up across the upper Midwest. So Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Kansas, Nebraska, winter storm warning in effect for your areas. And we also have a bunch of advisories over toward the Pacific Northwest as well. So the Rockies, winter storm warnings. We have blizzard warnings across the Cascade Mountain Range over Oregon and Washington. So blizzard conditions exist there, where some folks can pick up as much as 8 feet of snow across the Cascade Mountain Range, and about 2 to 3 feet of snow through parts of the Rockies. So that's from the next storm that's going to be affecting the country. Now, this storm is going to be chased by very, very cold air, as the polar vortex will set up over the central U.S. and make things very, very cold. And we're going to see the coldest weather that we've seen all winter and maybe in over a year. So once that polar vortex sets up on the backside of this low, we're going to be seeing very cold temperatures all the way down to the Gulf Coast and the southern plains. We're going to see temperatures even hit below freezing, and that could be like below 32. So we can see temperatures hitting the 20s along the Gulf Coast, and even into Florida, we can see some temperatures into the 30s and maybe the 40s in South Florida. So some very cold weather is on the way behind these mega storms that we're dealing with right now. This is a very serious weather, so I've been on here all day doing the weather forecast and tracking the weather. I've been very busy today with this weather. Here's the snow that we're seeing across the upper Midwest. We still have to pick up another 5 inches of snow over Wisconsin mostly and northern Michigan. So the upper peninsula, northwestern center areas of the boot, so Traverse City, you guys going to see the heavy snow. Sault Ste. Marie, Milwaukee, and Green Bay, you still have another 5 inches of snow. But just further to the south of you over central Illinois, eastern Iowa, maybe parts of northern Missouri, we're going to see 1 to 3 inches of snow still yet to go. So Chicago, you got another 1 to 3 inches of snow, and maybe you'll pick up an inch of snow in northern Indiana, and maybe another inch through some parts of central and southern Indiana. Ohio, we're going to see some light snow through Ohio and some light scattered snow showers over western Pennsylvania. So Cleveland, Pittsburgh, going to pick up some snow showers. But tomorrow, this is going to affect over here. So be ready for this coming out of the Midwest, guys. So if you're in Pittsburgh or you're in Cleveland or Cincinnati, or if you're in Buffalo as well, get ready for the heavy snow that's going to swing your way coming from the Midwest. So you're going to get a blast of snow. But it's going to be fairly quick hitting. And then here is the winter weather advisories across the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest. We got a lot of winter weather advisories through Nevada, Idaho, Utah. So the Wasatch Range, we got a winter storm warning. So Salt Lake City, Ogden, and the Weber Basin is going to see heavy snow. We're going to see heavy snow down through Provo as well. St. George, Utah. Well, not St. George, because St. George is way down here. But down to Park City, Utah, and maybe Provo, we're going to see some heavy snow. Some snow showers near Aspen and Vail, and near Colorado Springs and Denver as well. You're going to see some snow showers where you guys can pick up a few inches of snow overnight tonight as well. So a lot going on as far as the weather is concerned. Your boy has been very busy tracking this weather, trying to make these videos, get the word out there. I'm sure there's a lot of other people trying to spread the weather information out there to keep everybody safe and everything like that. So again, here's that moisture coming up from the south, from the southeast and the Gulf of Mexico. So lots of tropical moisture coming into this storm system. We see enough cold air to the north for heavy snow through parts of the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. But we're still seeing a lot of rain in here as well. So a lot of warmer air. We're going to see those warmer temperatures in the 50s in tomorrow still with this storm system before that colder air swings in. Again, here's a look at winter weather alerts across the upper Midwest tonight. We have winter storm warnings up through parts of northern Missouri, Iowa, northwestern Illinois, all of southern Wisconsin, parts of the upper peninsula of Michigan. But we're also looking at winter weather advisories. This means you're going to see less than 6 inches of snow where you have the winter weather advisories. But when there's a winter storm watch, it's going to be plus 6 inches of snow for you folks. Here is your forecast for tonight. We're going to see temperatures fairly mild out there across the Eastern U.S. We're still going to see those temperatures in the upper 40s around New York City and those upper 30s in Boston. So it's still above freezing out there. And we're going to see those temperatures in the mid 40s around the Washington area. And we're going to see those temperatures in the upper 30s there near Raleigh. So it's going to stay warm enough for rain, but we're going to see temperatures fall slightly below freezing here in like St. Louis, Chicago, and Green Bay, and Detroit. So we're going to see temperatures come down to that freezing level. So you're going to continue to see those snow showers and snow in your area for tonight, the remainder of this evening. Here is our current storm that we're currently dealing with. Here is the next storm that's going to be coming down the pipe. So get ready for the next storm that's going to be bringing that wintry weather as we head into the latter half of the week. That's going to bring more wintry and stormy weather to the plains, severe weather along the Gulf Coast, more than likely severe weather along the southeast, and heavy rain in the northeast, and probably a bit more snow with this next storm system that we're seeing with this current storm system. Here we are as we take another look at some of the power outages in the northeast. So in New York, we have folks without power, and we have a lot of folks without power through Pennsylvania. But some of the other areas, it's just a smattering. So Rhode Island, there's only one person without power because of storm related. This is because of storm related, not because you didn't pay your electric bill. So if your power's out because of the storm, there's only one person with that. And in New Hampshire, there's only one person with power out because of the storm. So that is a look at the weather forecast here. Oh, let's not forget all of the winds blowing 70 miles per hour winds along the coast. So the northeast and the mid-Atlantic, we're seeing very strong winds along the coast. Still very high winds inland, where those winds are flirting with 50 and 60 miles an hour. But along the coast, 60 to 70 miles per hour. So very dangerous situation. Here's your wind alerts. We got high wind warning throughout the northeast, and we have a wind advisory as well along a lot of the coastal areas. We're looking at a wind advisory, but down here we have a wind alert because this is where those 70 mile per hour winds are on this map. So we have a lot to deal with. Here is the flooding. So we have a flash flood threat tonight. A very likely scenario with flash flooding in the yellow, likely in the green. So pretty much guaranteed flash flooding. We're already seeing that flash flooding. This entire area is under a flood watch tonight. So this is going to be through Wednesday afternoon. We're going to see all of this green stay on this map because of the flood risk in these areas. And we're going to still see a couple of 3 inches of rain through parts of the northeast and the mid-Atlantic as well. So still a lot of rain to go for some of you, and some snow up in the northeast in the New England area. So in the interior of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, upstate New York, we're going to still pick up some snow and enough to warrant a weather advisory or winter storm warning. So some of you are still going to pick up over 6 inches of snow. So that's your weather forecast update to my earlier video. I'm really irritated with this camera. I can't wait to get my new camera, and hopefully that resolves my blurring issue. So again, I don't know why it's starting to do that. It does it sometimes, then sometimes it's good. So, but anyway, guys, be careful out there. Very dangerous weather situation out there across the east tonight, from the northeast to the south. Just a bad situation, and I wish everybody the best of luck and their safety and health. And I will stay on the Weather Center. I'll keep tracking the storm system. We should start to see things kind of settle down as far as the severe aspects. Further in the mid-Atlantic, like North Carolina and South Carolina, I think we're going to see severe weather throughout the night. Some nocturnal tornadoes could be possible. So some nighttime tornadoes through parts of the Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. But for everybody else, the severe weather should start to settle down as we move further through the night, okay? But that heavy rain is going to continue, and that heavy snow is going to continue, and those high winds will continue through the night and into the day tomorrow. So thank you for watching me, everybody. Leave your likes, comments, and subscribe. I will see you guys either later if the weather warrants it, or tomorrow. Bye-bye.